All right, so let's get into this. This is a huge stack of articles and research you've given me all about AI, and it looks like you're really interested in how AI is changing the world in so many ways, from, like the economy to even the creative arts and, just everything, really. So I think it'd be great to just jump right in and explore this stuff together.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing how fast AI is changing things, especially generative AI like ChatGPT and Google's Gemini Live, and even like IBM's Watson X are changing the ways we create stuff.
Yeah, it's like the whole creative world just got like a major upgrade.
Yeah.
But I guess with more power comes more responsibility. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of these articles that you sent talk about AI misbehaving, like that case where an AI thought a basketball player was vandalizing something.
Right. That's a great example of what they call hallucination in AI. Basically, the AI is just making stuff up, like getting its wires crossed, which, I mean, you can see how that could have some pretty serious consequences, as we start using AI for more and more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just like, making stuff up. It's also about bias. Like with that recruiting AI that was rejecting candidates just because of their age, it really makes you think about like the importance of guardrails for AI.
Oh, for sure. Guardrails are absolutely essential to make sure that these AI systems are operating, you know, ethically and legally, and they're staying within the technical limits too. I think of guardrails like the safety protocols that are there to prevent AI from, going off the rail.
Like putting up a fence around a playground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want the kids to have fun, but you got to keep them safe and make sure they're not, getting into trouble.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And, designing good guardrails is no easy task, just like building a good fence, right?
Yeah.
But it really takes, a lot of technical expertise and ethical considerations, and they're constantly changing as AI technology keeps evolving.
Yeah, I'm reading here that researchers are exploring all kinds of approaches, including IBM's research into something called an orchestrator framework. But I want to pivot a little bit here and talk about AI's impact on specific areas. Like, let's start with education in the arts.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. One of these articles compares what humanities teachers are facing today to what math teachers went through when calculators came around.
Hmm.
It's not about replacing teachers, it's about, adapting how we teach and learn.
But wouldn't it just be easier to ban AI in schools? I mean, that's what some Australian writers and audio artists are saying. They're really worried that AI is going to put them out of a job.
Well, yeah, you can see why some creators are feeling a little threatened, right? AI can create content so easily that it raises some real concerns about the future of creative work and this whole controversy surrounding publisher AI agreements where they're basically asking authors to give up some creative control. Well, that's just adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, it's like they're being asked to compete with a machine that can just churn out content 24/7
Mm.
without needing a break.
Yeah.
But couldn't AI also, help creativity?
Oh, absolutely. There's some really cool developments happening, like vibe coding in
Right.
game development, where AI tools can actually generate environments for games based on, like specific moods or aesthetics. Like, imagine just telling an AI, I want a cyberpunk city with a really melancholic vibe, and then boom, it just creates it.
That is wild. That sounds like AI could be a really powerful tool for bringing those creative visions to life. But
Mhm.
but what about the people who were afraid of losing their jobs to AI?
I mean, it's definitely a legitimate concern, and it's something that we need to talk about. But instead of thinking of AI as the enemy, maybe we should think about it as something that can help us.
I was just reading this article called The AI Shift, how software engineers can adapt and thrive. And it seems to be all about this idea that instead of being replaced by AI, maybe software engineers will just work with AI assistants, using skills like prompt engineering to manage these systems.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having a superpowered intern that can handle all the boring stuff, leaving you free to focus on the more interesting and creative parts of your job.
And the article even talks about how AI could boost efficiency and productivity. Things like cutting down on testing time and making code reviews faster,
Yeah.
and even helping with writing code. It kind of sounds like AI could become a software engineer's new best friend.
Exactly. And that's just one example, really. I mean, there are so many potential uses for AI in the workplace, from healthcare to finance to education to manufacturing. The important thing is to, be open to learning new skills and adapting to these new ways of working.
Yeah, it seems like the key to making it in this world where AI is everywhere is just to be adaptable and willing to learn new stuff. But I mean, let's be real for a second. There's a lot of anxiety about AI out there too, especially
Yeah.
when you think about things like the AI arms race and what
Yeah.
that means for the world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole global landscape is getting more and more tied up with AI development, like with the competition between the US and China. It's like an AI Cold War, some people are calling it.
And China's really going all in on AI infrastructure. They're even like making it harder for AI experts to travel to the U.S., it makes you wonder, who's going to end up leading this whole technological revolution.
Yeah. It's a tough situation for sure. I mean, some people in the U.S. want to put export controls in place to limit, what AI technology China can get their hands on, but then others think that open source AI is the best way to, push back against China's influence.
Sounds like there's no easy answer, and for companies like KPMG who work with people in both countries, it must be a real balancing act to figure out. But speaking of open source AI, that's something that's been getting a lot of attention lately. I was listening to a podcast episode you shared about this platform called OUMI, and their whole mission is to make AI accessible to everyone.
Yeah, open source AI is a really interesting movement. A lot of people who support it argue that it's super important to democratize access to AI so it doesn't just end up being controlled by, a few big tech companies.
But wouldn't open source AI also make it easier for, bad actors to get a hold of this technology? It seems like there's a trade-off between making it available to everyone and preventing people from using it for the wrong reasons.
Right. That's a valid point, and it shows why we need responsible development and really strong safety measures, no matter if the AI is open source or not. But the potential benefits of open source AI are really big. It could lead to more transparency, more collaboration, and even more innovation, so we could see more diverse and ethical uses of AI.
Sounds like finding that balance is going to be really important.
Yeah.
But I want to shift gears for a minute and talk about another area where AI is having a huge impact, investing in finance. I was really interested in this idea of alternative data that investors are using with AI. It's like AI is giving them a whole new set of tools to analyze markets.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are all these AI-powered investment platforms popping up like MiFi and U-Trade Solutions, and they're claiming to be able to beat human experts by using algorithms and big data.
That's a bold claim. But can AI really predict what the market is going to do? Like what happens when something unexpected happens or if the data is wrong?
You're asking all the right questions. AI is really good at finding patterns and making predictions based on data, but it's not perfect. The market is influenced by so many things, especially human behavior, which can be unpredictable.
So it's not a magic solution, but it could be a useful tool for investors who understand its limitations and use it the right way.
Exactly. And it's not just investing. AI is being used in all kinds of financial stuff, like credit management, for instance. CRED has this platform called Svalbard that uses AI for credit scoring and risk assessment. It could really change how we get access to credit.
That makes sense. AI is really good at analyzing data and finding patterns, so it seems like it would be perfect for those kinds of tasks. But when we start talking about AI being used in things like warfare, that's when things start to get a lot more complicated. I was reading about DARPA launching this thing called the Defiant, which is a fully autonomous warship. It really caught my attention.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing piece of engineering, but it also brings up some really serious ethical questions about, what role AI should play in war.
I mean, a 180-foot warship with no crew quarters, completely controlled by AI, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right, but the potential advantages are clear. Less risk to human life, more precision, and maybe even faster response times. But the risks are just as big. What happens if the AI malfunctions or makes a decision that causes unintended casualties? Who's responsible when an AI-powered weapon does something wrong?
It's a lot to think about, and it seems like we're just scratching the surface of all the ethical dilemmas that AI brings up. Speaking of complicated problems, one of the articles you sent talked about AI overthinking. I thought that was fascinating.
It is kind of ironic, isn't it? I mean, we usually think of overthinking as a human problem, but it turns out even super advanced AI systems can get stuck in that same loop.
Wait, so you're telling me computers can get stuck in their own heads just like we do? How does that even work?
Basically, these really advanced AI models can get caught up in these long chains of reasoning, exploring tons of possibilities and generating a huge number of potential solutions. And it can really slow them down, make them use way more computing power, and in the end, make them less effective at making decisions. It's like they're paralyzed by having too many choices.
Sounds like they need to learn how to chill out a little bit. But seriously, what are the implications of AI overthinking?
It's a big challenge, especially for things where you need to make quick decisions. Researchers are trying to figure out ways to stop AI from overthinking, like teaching it to prioritize information and not get bogged down in unnecessary details.
It's like we have to teach AI how to be more decisive.
Yeah.
But I want to move on to something that doesn't get talked about enough, the psychological impact of living in a world that's becoming more and more driven by AI.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to think about. As AI systems get more advanced and more integrated into our lives, they're going to have an effect on our mental well-being, whether we like it or not.
I can see how it could be both good and bad. On the one hand, AI could help us automate tasks, manage our schedules, and even provide companionship. But on the other hand, it could make us feel anxious and isolated, or even have some kind of existential crisis.
It's definitely a double-edged sword. All this information coming at us all the time, the pressure to keep up with technology and the lines between humans and machines getting blurry can be a lot to handle.
It's like that feeling of FOMO, the fear of missing out, but like turned up to 11.
And then there's the potential for AI to be used in ways that manipulate our emotions or take advantage of our weaknesses. Like imagine an AI that's designed to target people who are feeling lonely or depressed. It offers them this virtual companion that seems to understand and care about their feelings. It might seem helpful at first, but it could easily turn into a way to manipulate people, right?
Totally. What happens when that virtual companion starts suggesting you buy stuff that it says will make you feel better, but really it's just trying to make money for the company behind it?
That's the kind of ethical dilemma we need to be thinking about. As AI becomes more and more part of our lives, we need to make sure it's being used to help people not take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to that big question we've been talking about this whole time. Will AI be our friend or our foe?
It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer. It seems like the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's something we're creating right now, and the choices we make today are going to have a big impact on tomorrow.
You're absolutely right. The future of AI isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're shaping with every decision we make, every technology we develop, every conversation we have about what it means for us ethically.
So what can we do as individuals to make sure that AI is used for good and not for bad?
There are a few things we can do to empower ourselves in this AI-driven world, like embrace lifelong learning. Keep updating our skills and knowledge so we can stay ahead of the curve. We can focus on developing skills that are uniquely human, like creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and complex problem solving. Those are the skills that are going to be harder to automate. We can become AI literate, understand the basics of how AI works, its benefits and its risks, so we can make informed decisions about how it's used.
Those are all really good points. It's about being proactive, not passive in this technological revolution.
Exactly. And it's about being aware of our digital footprint. AI systems are trained on tons of data, and a lot of that comes from what we do online. We need to be aware of what information we're sharing and do what we can to protect our privacy.
It's a good reminder that we're not just using technology, we're also part of creating it.
And finally, we need to be part of the conversation about the ethics of AI. This isn't just for tech experts or politicians. It's a conversation that everyone needs to be involved in because the decisions we make about AI are going to affect all of us. We need to speak up, advocate for responsible development, and support efforts to make sure AI is used in a way that benefits humanity.
And speaking of being part of the conversation, I want to talk about one more specific area before we wrap things up. The future of AI agents. This seems to be where a lot of the excitement and anxiety are coming together.
Yeah, AI agents are a big step forward in what AI can do. These are systems that can act on their own, make decisions, and learn from their experiences. And they often work together with other AI agents or even with humans.
I mean, we're already seeing this with self-driving cars, autonomous robots, and even AI that can play really complex games like Go or StarCraft.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to see what they can do.
The potential uses for AI agents are huge. They could revolutionize industries, automate really complex tasks, and solve problems that have stumped humans forever. But it's also a little scary, right? I mean, what happens when these AI agents get so smart and independent that they start making decisions we don't understand or agree with? What happens when they develop their own goals that clash with ours?
Those are the kinds of questions that keep AI ethicists up at night. Developing AI agents brings up some really deep ethical and philosophical questions about control responsibility and even like what intelligence really means.
It's like we're stepping into the unknown, and we need to be really careful about where we're going. We need to put safety, transparency, and human oversight first, and we need to be on the lookout for any unintended consequences. We also need to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks and benefits of AI agents so we can make smart decisions about how to bring them into our society.
So what do you think the future holds for AI agents? Any predictions?
It's tough to say for sure, especially with technology changing so fast, but I think we're going to see AI agents getting even more sophisticated and becoming a bigger part of our lives in the next few years. We might see them taking on more complex roles in healthcare, education, finance, and even government. They could be our assistants, our collaborators, our advisors, and maybe even our companions.
It's a future that's full of both potential and risk,
Hmm.
but it's a future that we have the power to shape. It's a lot to think about, from guardrails and hallucinations to AI arms races and the rise of AI agents. It feels like we're on this crazy roller coaster ride into the future.
Yeah, and like any good roller coaster, there are those moments where you're like, whoa, this is amazing, and those moments where you're like holding on for dear life. But the thing is, we can't get off this ride. AI is here to stay, and it's up to us to figure out how to navigate it all.
And so much of what we've talked about really highlights this tension between, the incredible things AI can do
Mm.
and the very real fears that it could be misused.
Mm.
Like, how do we balance wanting to innovate with needing to be responsible about how we develop it?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We have to be aware of the potential downsides without, killing creativity and progress. It's like walking a tightrope. You're constantly trying to find that balance.
And it's not just about the technology itself, it's about us humans too. We need to adapt and learn and evolve along with AI. This deep dive has really shown me that understanding AI isn't just for like computer scientists or something, it's for everyone.
Absolutely. AI literacy is so important the more we understand about AI,
Yeah.
how it works, what it can do for us, and, what the risks are, the better prepared we'll be to make good decisions about it and, help shape how it develops.
It's like they say, knowledge is power. The more we know about AI, the more power we have to make sure it's used for good.
Exactly. And it's not just about, technical knowledge. It's about thinking critically. We need to question things, challenge biases, and not get caught up in the hype. Don't believe everything you read about AI.
Yeah, we need to be a little bit skeptical, especially with all these deep fakes and AI-generated content. It can be really hard to tell what's real and what's fake.
Absolutely. It's getting tougher and tougher to tell the difference. We need to be careful about check our sources and, not just believe everything we see.
It's like we need to become internet detectives,
Yeah.
always looking for clues that might give away a sneaky AI. But
Yeah.
it's not just about being suspicious of everything, right? It's also about recognizing that AI can do a lot of good in the world.
Oh, definitely. We've talked about some really cool applications of AI, like revolutionizing healthcare and helping us fight climate change. I mean, AI could be a huge help in solving some of the world's biggest problems.
The key is to use that power responsibly and ethically.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some of the most important takeaways for our listeners, the people who are clearly interested in not just understanding AI, but also figuring out how to thrive in this new world where AI is everywhere?
Here's what I would say. First, embrace that growth mindset. AI is always changing. And so, should we be curious? Stay informed and keep learning. Second, focus on developing those skills that make us human. Things like creativity, empathy, critical thinking, and, being able to solve complex problems. Those are the skills that are going to set you apart in a world where AI is doing more and more. Third, be aware of your digital footprint.
Right.
AI systems learn from data, and a lot of that data comes from us. So be careful about what you share online and take steps to protect your privacy. And finally, don't be afraid to get involved in the conversations about AI. This isn't just a topic for tech people. It's something that everyone needs to be talking about because the choices we make about AI are going to affect all of us.
Those are all really great points. It's about being proactive, informed, and engaged. It's about realizing that the future of AI isn't something that's happening to us. It's something we're all creating together.
That's a great way to put it. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's a story that we're still writing, and we all have a part to play in how it turns out.
And that's a really powerful thought to end on. So thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI. We hope you learned some valuable stuff, and most importantly, that you feel empowered to remember the future's in our hands.